So hi guys, I'm back with a video about the second story in the four of a kind. I wouldn't call it event, kind of a mini series. So this one is the Detective Comics annual number 8, and it covers the Riddler, and is actually way better than the Poison Ivy story we previously saw. So here on the cover have Batman kind of having an explosion in the background, him being hit by the wave from that explosion, I guess. And here we have the Riddler, and these two girls are two of his helpers. One of them is Query, and the other one is Echo, I think. But I don't know which one's which. We're gonna see in the story which one's which. They're not that big of a character. Like I don't recall seeing them anywhere else. Again, I'm not a huge DC fan. I haven't read like the comics from the 60s until here. I just started this summer. Um, so I'm not to give you a vague idea where I'm at. I'm not even at Infinite Crisis. So yeah, so if you guys check out the timeline of the events, you'll kind of see where I'm at, and I'm kind of starting even earlier now with you guys here. And yeah, so we'll just see the story. So I told you how this first page never shows up as like properly. So we have Riddler, and he's saying prying, needling, insinuating, so obvious and tactless, quit the senseless quizzing. Um, he's kind of mad. He's kind of in a room, and it's a chair and a mirror. Um, and he kind of tells his story. I have the cover again. So it's a story wrapped in a story wrapped in a story, and he kind of goes, I'll share with you my headiest triumphs and my lowest defeats, like the Stradivarius kidnapping, what a sweet score that was going to be, damn the Batman. So we kind of see Batman beating up Riddler here and some of his goons in the background. Um, Chuck Dixon is the writer, that's why this is so amazing. Chuck Dixon is an amazing writer. So this is the story of Edward Nigma. This is my story, and I love when DC does kind of this villain origin. There's one with Flash has a villain called Captain Cold, um, and he gets like a one shot when Jeff Johns is writing that series. We'll get to that. Don't worry about it. Someday, someday, and that was amazing as well. So. Uh, it all began on the tree shaded streets of Waterbury. So, what we see here is Riddler just asking questions like, why are the leaves green? And this is like such a kid things to say. Like adults didn't have the answers, or maybe they forgot him. Like only a kid could like actually think this. Chuck Dixon is amazing for like writing teen stories. His Robin run is amazing. We're gonna go through that. I already went through his run, and he also wrote Nightwing at the same time. Man, those are amazing. I can't wait to show you guys those stories. Um, and he says, I was determined to be a guy with all the answers. Um, okay, so even if I had to make up the questions, so here he kind of talks about his childhood a bit in the sixth grade, I think, and it's kind of a contest, like a school-wide contest on who's gonna do the puzzle first, and he's asking, what's it a puzzle of? Like, what's the puzzle? Is it like a scenery, a cartoon, an animal? That would be cheating, Freddy. And he says, my name's Eddie, big fat cow. And I mean, that made me crack up. That was so funny. I mean, it's supposed to be like muttering it. I don't think he said it with like her face. So he goes, story of my life, I was a cipher, nobody beneath the notice of even the school bullies. But I could solve that puzzle, the prize, the recognition. The other kids would remember my name. They'd sit with me at lunch. And Now we're kind of back in the present where he's talking, and a mediocre student. He talks about himself, a faceless kid, as forgettable as the capital of Idaho. What's the capital of Idaho? I think Iowa is Des Moines. I don't know Idaho. I'm trapped here, but then again, I'm not American, so I'm an only child. There were lots of times I'd hear my parents fighting. One night I crawled out of the bed and listened. They were blaming each other for something, really going at it. Dishes flying, dishes and pans flying. Know what? They were blaming each other for me. And that was really sad. Like you kind of get, because Riddler is kind of this weird Batman villain. Like he's not necessarily after the money. It's more like the recognition that he's smarter than Batman. So he has kind of this frustration, or better said, frustrations inside of him. And we kind of really see why. And I think Chuck Dixon here like really nails the puzzle and makes Enigma tick perfectly. So kudos to him. So he kind of knows he's kind of mediocre students, but he knows how he could um, beat everyone. And it was then I found my true calling in life, cheating. So he kind of just does the puzzle like multiple times, and he gets it to do like in a minute, and he wins. Kind of gets forgotten, like his great victory, and he gets bullied as well because of it. And he feels like Batman is a bully, like those bullies he had while he was growing up. So this is back to the second story, um, which is a Stradivarius uh, hit, I guess. So they gave him a book, and this book is puzzles, riddles, and games for every occasion. So he really learns all of his tricks. I mean, not all of his tricks, but he really gets an understanding of tricks, um, sleight of hand, and escape and that kind of stuff. He goes to the library and kind of studies more. My favorite subject was the great Houdini. All Harry and I share a talent. We both cheat. Um, the secret to a good trick is fixing the solution ahead of time. Skill at sleight of hand is important as well. And he kind of gets beaten for it. And he kind of gets a flashback. Like, this was weird. He gets a flashback of the Batman who was not there yet. So he's really traumatized by the Batman. So he becomes like this guy, works like delivery for this old people asylum. And I love this. But just as the earth was about to close on me, the gates of heaven yawned wide. I just love the phrasing of this. So he kind of gets the money, but he's not really happy with it. Uh, where was the trick? Where was the respect? Simple theft wasn't a game; it was a job. So he just loved the thrill, because he goes on multiple robberies and he doesn't like them. I was going to have to establish a style, and I don't really. What do you call twins both named William? Bills? I Where do cows go on a date? Uh, like okay, so it's supposed like the answers are supposed to be here. What's the latest mountain in the world? That's Everest. So I guess double would be the answer to the second one. I really liked Riddler as a kid because I was always trying to answer the riddles. I had to work harder for their attention. And so this is a bomb, and Gordon kind of figures out. But like when he bombs, it's just like these cards with like riddles on them, and they kind of have like little parachutes. They're kind of awesome. Why did the cottage go on a diet? When's the best time to go to the dentist? What day do soldiers hate the most? What do you make of this, Jim? And he kind of realizes trouble, so he gets all his men, kind of figures out it's the Lighthouse Club on March 4th, a minute 32, and it's a bomb actually, so that goes off. Um, so he liked that, and then Batman comes up because he was supposed to run with the money and kind of make the police uh, seem like idiots. And Batman just comes in, and the Riddler's like, the fun stopped there. What are you supposed to be? Batman asked. I read about him in the tabloids, and you don't believe in him. He says, I'm the Riddler. But Batman asks, what are you dressed as? The question mark, the quiz master. and he just beats the ever-loving crap out of Riddler. He just um, humiliating him, as he says right here on the top. But he had a dynamite, which kind of left his arms when he was beaten. The Riddler, huh? I've had it with you, team villains. And there's a dynamite who kind of saves him, and now he wasn't going to play second fiddle to Joker or Two-Face or any of the wannabes. And the Batman was Saint and Devil to me, a foe to match wits against, but an adversary to be wary of. You dimwits think I create my riddles because I want to be caught. What naive pedestrian thinking. To me, crime is a performance art, and that's what you psycho babblers share with the thugs of the world. Lack of vision. So, he kind of needs assistance, but nobody like pays any attention to him, because he doesn't really have a good rep. So he does this old trick. How do you keep an idiot waiting? I don't know. I'll tell you later. He gets his ass beaten up for it, and then he kind of goes on this boring. Like he's even bored doing them. Um, do this muggings and stick ups, and then he meets these girls, and one of them is Query, and the other one's Echo. You stop looking for something, and up it pops. Kindred souls. So they both kind of, I think the way it goes, they both like the Riddler robs this place, and they're robbing it at the same time. So they become his henchwoman, I guess. Query and Echo. So I guess this one's Query and this one's Echo. And they become this kind of trio. And they're gonna do how do you call this? The word puzzle. I don't know the name, but it's in the New York Times every week. My mission was twofold: to intrigue him and confound him. But this is a real cool shot of Batman, as was the previous one. And I had to be circumstantial, less obvious, and more devious. So what he does here, he kind of cheats and makes a word which could be pronounced two ways, and everyone goes like what they're thinking. But Gordon has a Chicago accent, so I think the word was banquet. So the way Gordon pronounced like banquet. So Batman figures it's not a banquet, it's banquet, because the rule will work both ways. So it's a vault underwater, and the trick is he like the pressure outside and inside has to be equal. So you'd have to like drain the water on the left side to be able to open it. But like it doesn't know the difference between water and air, so you just get the money. And this is like the Riddler boat or something. Try this on how does a boat show affection, and then as he's saying the punchline by hugging the shore, Batman swoops in and beats his helpers. But well, I didn't get that scene because it wasn't that cool. But like what happened was that the Riddler had to go like underneath, but the Batman was standing, so he was too tall. So he gets hit. It's kind of one of those cartoons kind of a scenarios. Tunnel, but underwater, I guess. I beat the bank, the cops, and the Batman. So now he's just like air drying, like blow drying. And here's Query and Echo kind of wanted to get their part. They really wasn't really thinking they would come after him. And now he's more happy about the credibility, because everyone's, oh, congratulations, you kind of outwitted the Batman and the cops and everyone, and they want to get ransom kids, but it's not actual babies, it's Stradivariuses, which are the violins, which are hundreds of years old. What musical instrument doesn't tell the truth? How do you sneak into an opera house? Why did the composer stop watching television? And they're unsure if it's another diversion tactic or something straight up. And one of the other packages was this puppy, and they had to check it. And it's like, hey, do you want to get praised for him or just keep it? and he sent his two helpers, Query and Echo, to arrange to get the payment, but Batman got there first because he figured it out. So there was no buyer, only him. He's like, Batman's fear works on the innocent too. That's kind of true. And then he comes where he does the stick up and he get the last Stradivarius because he already stole like from this guy, stole a few of them. He even broke one, but this one was one of the like I don't know if he wanted to steal all of them or this was part of that collection and it was loaned out that night. And now he's kind of angry because nobody's responding to him. Again, the Riddler character like really needs to have an audience. Nothing to say, no smart lip pop psych rejoinder, no snap judgment. I told you my story. I answered your questions and I've laid myself bare. I'm not a riddle anymore. I'm not a riddle anymore. I'm not a riddle anymore. He kind of breaks the glass, and I think he kind of breaks the illusion. We don't know. I don't think he was. I don't think this was an illusion, like something high tech, like how the X-Men have the danger room and it's like illusions, but it feels real. I think this was just in his head. So the guards come and they put him on the bed. He was like, no one there. He was so shocked by it. But the doctors, this was kind of previously. So who you're assigned to? Edward Nygma, the Riddler. We were talking to him in the observation room 6, trying to talk. He's been catatonic all morning. So we took a lunch break. It's not like we were going to miss anything. And they kind of missed his story. So his story had no audience. And besides us, we're like the fourth wall. So yeah, I really like this story, especially the beginning with the Riddler's childhood. I thought it was amazing. I thought Chuck Dixon really nailed the core character of how we see him and like the stories, and it never really clicked for me. Why does he need the attention? Like usually it's people just saying, "Oh, he's crazy," and they leave it at that, but oh my god, Chuck Dixon did an amazing backstory here and everything clicked. So how he got into cheating, how he got into puzzles and misdirection and all of that and riddles, and oh my god, I loved it. And the Stradivarius heist was so like golden age and silver age at the same time. Like I could see it in both of those ages. So it was like that kind of really old story, but told in a modern way. The same with the underwater vault, and he just gets out in the Riddler boat with like the two Riddlers helpers, Query and Echo, which had the matching costume. Like it felt, even though it's like mid 90s, and it's told in a modern way with like lots of psychology behind it. It felt like such a fun story and evocative of those past ages. And I'm not a fan of those ages. Honestly, I'm not. I don't like the drawing style. I think the dialogue is way too long, and it's reflective of an era I haven't lived in, and I feel just too far removed from it. But this, when you tell it like with a modern upgrade to it and a modern approach, man, this was a fun story. So I hope you guys get to read it. I hope you enjoyed this video and the story. If you did, please leave a like. If you didn't, or if you have something to add why you liked it, what did you like specifically about it, what do you want me to do next, please leave a comment. And also please subscribe. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow when I'm gonna do the other two parts of this annual miniseries, or thematic miniseries, if you can call it like that. So thanks guys, see ya.